we're going to go to Schoology and log in as my pal Jay Smart. And let's take a look at this course. And let's go down to the assignments. And let's go down all the way down to Bible database. And in here, we have a database provided for you. We're going to download that database. I've actually given you the site where I found this. I'm not sure if those links are still valid, but let's see if we can download a database here. This, I think, is on the Schoology site. Let's click on this link right here, and it should take me to a download. And I'm going to download that. If it doesn't give you a prompt to where to put it, then it's going to be in your downloads folder. I'm going to make sure I put it in my CS 101 Spring 2023 CS 101 SP23. I'm going to save it as CS 101 Bible Database KJV. Do a save. And I'm done with the browser. I can minimize that. And now I want to open that database I just downloaded. I could start access and open it from there by going to Open and then browse over to where I just downloaded that Bible database. Enable the content, because yes, I trust where I just got it from. And look, you have a database with lots of tables in there. I'm not sure why this is so huge. Let's shrink that down a bit. This is our navigator. Multiple tables in here, but don't worry. You don't have to worry about any of the tables except the first two. The other tables are just interesting. They were there when I pulled it down from that website. And just for fun, I'm going to see if that website is still a good link. Let's go back to that link there. Let's see if that's where I got it from, if they still have it. It's redirecting me. Look at that. They still have it. It looks like you have to sign up and then they will let you. Well, it looks like they still have it. Yeah, that looks like the same one that I have. It's old there. It's very old, Access 97. I actually have converted it for you. Otherwise, there'd be a whole step of converting this into a modern Access 2021 version. So yes, they still have their website available. Okay, so we have our database. Here it is. Just for fun, yeah.
I'm not sure I did it right. I was uploading my Access
Okay.
one, so I got a little.
So click on that here link. I'm not sure you clicked on the link that said here.
Is that the right one?
No, go on the word here.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's the
missed
word
that.
here. Okay, then that'll go ahead and click download. If it doesn't ask you where to put it, go ahead and click download anyway. And so it's putting it in your downloads folder. You can do keep. And you can open it if you like, and it should open it in Access. Click enable content. And it's ready to go.
All right, thank you.
Everyone get it? Now this is the King James Bible. Now people, just 50 years ago, spent their lives doing now what you can do in 3 seconds of building a query. Mr. Strong, who built the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. How many of you have heard of the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance? Have you heard of it? It's a book about 3 inches thick. Every word in the Bible is listed, and then with that, every location of that word in the Bible. That's how we did it before computers came along. We had textbooks, and I'm sure he spent 10 years of his life or more exhaustively referencing every word in the Bible and where it is. That's how we studied the Bible back in the day before computers came along. Where do you find the word apostle? Go to Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, turn to that page wherever it is. You have a query that pops it up in one click. You're going to, with this Bible database, be able to actually build queries on searching for interesting information in the Bible. You're going to be able to do things that even today's modern programs can't do because it's kind of complicated for them to do this for you. So let's first of all explore what we have. And yeah, I am recording this. Let's explore what we have. Let's just look one table at a time. BASV table, double click, and I see that this table has 31,103 records. That's how many Bible verses there are in the Bible, I believe, unless they have a few extra ones from King James. Let's slide all the way to the last verse by just grabbing that slider, going all the way to the end. And there is the very last verse. Yep, there's Revelation 22:21. Look how fast I can read my Bible. Zip. Speed reader. Now, I do have a check mark in a column named Read or Read. Apparently, this is part of a Bible plan where I can check read or not on my Bible verses. We're going to be coming back to that. So there's my Bible database. Let's just go click on the design view just to see how the columns are structured. Click on design view, and I see, I'll just double click here, I see that I have a number, Bib ID is a number, chapter is a number, and if I stretch this down, I will see that verse is a number, narration is long text. Apparently there are some verses that are longer than 255 characters. The book number is a number, and whether the book is read or not is a yes/no. Let's go ahead and put a comment in the description there. Let's put checked if I have read this in my reading plan. Now we could add more fields like a picture that might be attached to that particular verse, like if we went to Israel and took pictures. But that's a whole nother thing. We'll think about how we might do that kind of thing. But I see that there's 3 numbers. The bib ID is the primary key. And a little comment there, helpful. It's a unique key for every verse. So the chapter that it's in, the verse. So narration is the text of each verse. Okay, I close that, saving my changes. Let's look at Bible Master. See what's in the Bible Master. Double click. And I see, well, there is a mass ID, basically numbering the books of the Bible by mass ID in the order that they're listed in the Bible. So they're not alphabetical. They're numeric from 1 to 66 plus Moses OT/NT whole. So up to 66, these mass IDs are meaningful. After them, these are extra numbers. Not sure what those mean, but we will keep that in mind. That mass ID goes up to 71. I don't know what 70 used to be. There is no 70. The MAS book, it looks like an abbreviation of the book. So MAS book is abbreviation. MAS OT/NT is just a O or a N if it's New Testament or Old Testament. And MAS real name is the full, complete name of each book of the Bible. And if I look at the design view, there's a number is the primary key. They're auto-numbered, and the rest are short text with some limitations at the field size of the book, OT or NT, or the real name of the book. Okay, that's understandable. And I did adjust some column width, so I'll go ahead and save changes. Blank master, nothing there to see. Help, give some interesting, perhaps interesting information about where they found things. So you can use tables just to keep documentation about what you have in a database. Notes on translations, a few notes there. Again, just some notes. Okay, not sure what that means. It looks like somebody was planning to build a program, and somehow it looks like they were planning to let the person adjust the size of their screen as they're reviewing databases. These others, not sure what those are about. Switchboard items, no, nothing interesting there. And translations, lots of other translations. I wonder if they were planning to get other information into this database. So the first two are the only interesting ones. Now let's go take a little exploration into the relationships between the two tables. Let's go to Database Tools, Relationships. And what do we see there? Well, we don't see a relationship necessarily, but I think we can figure it out what the relationship is. There are no relationships defined, so that's going to be one of our first jobs. I'm going to adjust the size of this just because they are annoyingly large and I don't need to have giant white boxes. Can you figure out what the relationship would be between these two tables? I'll give it a try. Let's just take a look at Bible Master. Mass ID is 1 when it's Genesis, 2 when it's Exodus. Up here in BASV, it looks like Bib ID, well, that increases. Oh, look, Book Num is 1 when it's Genesis. And I bet you it's 66 in Revelation. Ooh, so what is that telling me? Mass ID is referencing, or Book Num is referencing the Mass ID, because see how Mass ID in the Bible Master is 1 for Genesis, 2 for Exodus. Here in ASV, the Book Num is 1 for Genesis. So therefore, based on me exploring a little bit, I see that Book Num, drag, click and drag to Mass ID. That is the relationship between those two tables. Now, just to make sure that I'm right about this, let's click Enforce Referential Integrity to just see if there is some erroneous connection that might confuse or might prove that maybe that's not how it was designed. I'm going to click Create and see what it does. Oh, look at that. That's telling me that this is never referring to a non-existent Book Num in my ASV 1901 table. Therefore, let's establish that relationship. And I'm not planning to make any edits to my database. If I were planning to make edits, I could cascade update related fields. If you want to check that, that just would mean if I ever change the reference to a book, like we realized that Genesis came after Exodus, and I want to reverse the book numbers, I could decide that to update the references to it. And I click OK, and I can close my database relationships table. And now we're ready to get down to business to actually write some queries. Saving changes. And let's see what queries we need to write for this assignment. Let's bring up that little assignment. What do we need to do? Create a query to display Psalm 23 sorted by verse number. Well, let's take a look at our tables. We have all these tables. Let's create a query in Query Design. And to make this nice and visible for you, let's see, I gotta adjust my window size here. It's a little goofy with my small screen, so the showing up a little better for you. Okay, so I have building a query. I want to see the text of the verses. Now, where do we keep the text of the verses? In the BASV 1901 table. So double click that table. And where do we have the name of the book? It's in Bible Master. So every query that I'm going to be designing here, I'm going to need both tables because they're related very closely. If I want to refer to the name of the book, either by abbreviation or by real name, I need that information from the Bible Master table. To know the text of the book, of the verse, and the chapter and verse, I need that information from the BASV table. Now, back to my creating a query to display Psalm 23. Well, let's put the name of the book for the first column, double click. Name of the number of the chapter, double click. The verse number, double click. And the actual text of the verse is the narration. Without any criteria, I'm going to have my entire Bible in this query. If I look at datasheet view, indeed I have the name of the book, Genesis 1, verse 1. I can adjust my column, and I can read my Bible all the way through to the 31,103rd verse and have my Bible read. I can adjust my column widths to make it nice and wide and readable. If I adjust one row, all of them get the same height. I can go back to design view now after seeing the results from that query. And now comes the challenge. I want to just display Psalm 23. What would I put in my criteria for I want to see the chapter Psalm 23?
Would it be the ID for the book and then the chapter for it?
Yeah, the chapter is going to be 23.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, since I'm referring to the real name, I don't even care what the ID is. All I have to do is put for the real name, PS, and I'm too lazy to spell Psalm. I don't remember if it's singular or plural. I can just spell PS star, and it will find any book that begins with PS, which is only the book of Psalm. If I click off of that, it put quotes and puts the word like in front of it. Now, I think it's going to come out sorted, but let's go ahead and make sure it's sorted by verse, just to make sure. We want to sort it ascending by verse. Even though I think it's in the table assorted, let's make sure the query does pull them out sorted by verse number. To see whether or not that is the correct answer, oh, I actually checked that. We do want to see the name of the book. Let's see what we get. The book Psalm, chapter 23, verse 1, and indeed those are just the 6 verses that I appear in this query. If I don't need to see the name of the book and just the verses, I could uncheck show it, and I could just list them by verse and narration. It still will work as a query. It just doesn't show that column if I don't need to see it. If I wanted to see it, I can always check, but they're going to be the same for every verse. So whether or not I show that or not is not a big deal. But the query needs that because that's what determines what shows or what is selected out of the 31,103 verses of the Bible. So once I'm happy with the results I'm getting, whether or not you show the book name is fine, I'm going to save this query. Control S. Oh, let's make sure what the instructions say. The query is query underscore PS23. So let's make sure we save it. Control S. PS underscore. Oh, sorry. Query PS23. Query underscore PS23. Let's see if it allows underscores in query names. Yes, it does. Now I can close this. Anytime that I want to see Psalm 23, I can come back to here and double click, and I have Psalm 23. If I want to see how it was designed, I click a triangle and I see, oh, look at it, it reordered my columns on me. That's interesting. Sorted by verse number, the verse number and the text. This determines I'm only seeing 6 verses rather than all 31,000. So there you go, Psalm 23. Prove that it's the right verses. View the design. Close it whenever I'm done. It's stored as query PS23. Now let's do one more here. Oh, I want to create a form for browsing the verses of Psalm 23. Oh, forms are easy. Remember, forms and we can do the forms and reports. Remember, to create a form, unless I ask you for specific fields, which I don't think I'm planning on it, all I need to do is select the query that gives me my information, the Create tab, and the Give Me a Form. Don't need the form design or the form wizard. Just give me the form, and boom, I have a form that lets me browse the verses one at a time. I can navigate through one verse at a time. If I decided in my Bible database to actually store pictures that would go with each verse, I could decide in my form to show the picture. But right now we're just showing the text. And I can close that form. Oh, does it give a name? Let's see. Form PS23. So when I close it, it'll ask me if I want to save it. Yes, I'm going to give it the name. not query PS23, but call it form PS23. And for some reason it doesn't like that name. Let's take the underscore out. Maybe it allows underscores in queries but not forms. Let's talk about the underscore and see if it's happy with that. Yep, it doesn't like underscores in form names, but it allows them in query names. That's a little odd. Now the report, just as easy. There's the query, create, report, and there I have the report of Psalm 23, and I can close it, saving it as report. Let's see if it allows underscores in report names. Oh, it doesn't like queries, underscores, and report names. I'll put a space there instead of an underscore, and it's happy. So the 3-click method for forms and reports. We'll be building more queries on the Bible on Friday. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the warming afternoon out there.